And this song right here at this moment is making me wonder, A, why I do not have a road trip playlist, and B, why isn't this song the first one on it? Because I just imagine myself just tooling down the road. I historically, when I had mix CDs, had playlists for road trips, and I just never done that on my Spotify. Why? I don't know. But I'm going to create one in this moment, and it's going to go on a couple others because it's just a good, fun-ass tune. That I think is about shotgun weddings, perhaps. I mean, I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't matter. It's making me feel good. Because shotgun weddings make me feel great.
Driving on.
And welcome to the Rock Radar. My name is Smitty, and my quest through space to open rock and roll minds, mine first, then maybe yours by accident. You might trip along some knowledge here at some point. You never know. And today, that quest brings me to The Breeders from 1993. Interesting. I am aware of The Breeders' Cannonball, but I've heard nothing since. The vibe of the Rock Radar is to open rock and roll minds. Things I've heard before or just haven't investigated, and I'm trying to broaden my horizons that way. And I'm like, well, I've never listened to more from The Breeders and appreciate the Ewok song. Why haven't I heard more from this band? I don't even remember hearing them when this came out in 93, for whatever reason, it wasn't on my radar, so to speak. And I really didn't even start hearing them, I think, until early 2000s. And that's always the area I associated them with. I did not know it was this early that it came out. But this will be listen number 2 to The Breeders. And if you dig my thoughts on this at all, want to check out my thoughts on other things, including my other projects, I have the huge bucket list dream, trip, and project of my lifetime, the 20-year bucket list Smitty Learns Irish pubcast, where I hike Ireland for a year and tell its story town by town via pub interviews. And I also have the weekly Smartman Show podcast with my good buddy Brian, where we basically talk about pop culture stuff, hot topics, ranty, questiony things. Hopefully that made it sound great. My solo What the Hell Everything podcast also features me tackling ideas, telling stories, trying to figure myself out, working my own brain out in real time. So have fun with that if you want. All new links. If you're already following the podcast, you want to check more out. And click the new podcast. They are new links, so please click those, follow those, and maybe consider supporting me along the way, including on Patreon. So sub, like, all that stuff, and let's get to this reaction, shall we? From the 1993 album Last Splash, Drivin On 9, The Breeders.
Driving on 9. You could be a shadow beneath the streetlight behind my home. Driving on 9, I sure miss you. Past the motel, looking at the pines. Driving on 9, looking for 130. Maybe I passed go another mile. Driving on 9.
Yeah, this is a lot more fun, old-timey rock and roll song that I thought I was going to hear. Yeah, way out of left field for me. But this is a good thing. I am appreciating this a lot. I'm more or less, it kind of sounds like the White Stripes almost, a little bit, kind of, sort of, as far as like that sort of take on like an old folky tune kind of thing. But I like kind of being surprised like that. Let me bring it back just a little bit, shall we?
Looking for 130. Maybe I passed it. Go another mile. Driving on 9. Driving on 9. Driving on 9.
And this song right here at this moment is making me wonder, A, why I do not have a road trip playlist, and B, why isn't this song the first one on it? Because I just imagine myself just tooling down the road. I listen to a lot of music while I'm driving, and I historically, when I had mix CDs, had playlists for road trips, and I just never done that on my Spotify. Why? I don't know. But I'm going to create one in this moment, and it's going to go on a couple others because it's just a good, fun-ass tune that I think is about shotgun weddings, perhaps. I mean, I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't matter. It's making me feel good because shotgun weddings make me feel great.
Driving on night.
Yay!
Driving on night. Looking out my windowsill. Wondering if I want you still. Wondering what's mine. Driving on night. Driving on night. Driving on night.
Man, I really enjoyed that song. I'm going to here in a moment skim through Cannonball just to kind of get a vibe of it again. I have it saved on a couple playlists. I know I've listened to it on more than several occasions, but I'm trying to remember like the instrumentation in it and things like that. Vibe wise, it's way different, obviously, than what I've heard from those guys with Cannonball. Let me just skim through that real quick because now I'm curious. Yeah. And it was just, I always lumped it in with like just alternative rock, and it's nice when you can catch a different perspective from a band from the same album enunciation, but just a completely different vibe, and I really appreciate it. I'm putting that on a playlist, man. A couple other ones. I'm going to make a road trip playlist, and that one shall be the foist. Hey, thank you so much. If you're still here, I really appreciate you. And please consider liking and subscribing. And I'm going to play a clip of my my podcast right now. If you're still here and you're interested whatsoever, please check this out. It is audio only on those podcasts. The Smartman Show with Brian and Nate. I am Nate, my friend Brian and I. And what is this clip, Smith? Oh, my buddy Brian is a big fan of the terrible movie Torque, and we actually he made me watch it, and I reviewed it for the podcast, and I think it triggered my Bell's palsy. Thanks so much for joining me. Here's that clip. When was the last time you watched it?
It's been a few years. I need to rewatch it now.
Yeah, Coates. Okay, so here's your homework assignment. Maybe not whenever. It's just an addendum to this. Watch it, and then try to watch it with like an older man's perspective, because there's all sorts of movies and music too now that I revisit that I used to like, that I'm like, and it just does not hit the same. It's not as good anymore.
Did you just call me old man?
Yeah, you're middle-aged.
I do not like
you are
anymore.
Middle-aged.
I quit this podcast.
How old are you? How old are you?
32.
How old are you?
32.
How old are you in real life?
32.
How old are you in the Smith hole?
41.
That's middle-aged. You're old.
Honestly, if you look at the average age of death of men, I'm more than middle-aged.
Watch that garbage movie with some of your old man wisdom that you hopefully have gotten.
Dude, I'm going to love it as soon as they start fighting with their bikes.
Oh, my God. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's honestly, I can say it is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
I wish this was a little part of me wish this was a video podcast, because the faces that you make as you speak of this really elevate what we're talking about. Like, I wish I could put into words. It's like your whole face is contorting out of being annoyed that you watched it, annoyed that you have to talk about it, and annoyed that now I'm going to rewatch it and we're going to have to talk about it again.
I didn't really think about that last part, but the rest is pretty true. I think it was rated like 4 out of 10 or something like that. 4 stars out of 10.
Solid for IMDb.
And some person commented on the comment section, and they were like, "It's a B movie. Relax. It is not a B movie. A B movie can still have good writing and good things. Plus, there was pretty decent budget for this movie. It just looked like people messed it up."
Yeah, it was not a B movie. It was released, a wide cinema release.
Had Ice Cube in it, who was just mean and mad all the time, and but then bro hugged it out afterwards. Like, I'm like, dude, shut up. Everything in this movie was the most unrealistic, dumb, like movie trope, action movie trope I could possibly imagine.
It's doing it again. It's like it's contorting and look. I can't explain it other than it's like your face is pulling 4 different directions because it wants to just leave the discussion.
That's probably what happens when my Bell's palsy is activated by shit I don't like. My face just goes in all sorts of different directions. Oh man, that's what that is.
Oh man.